let's let's dive into that a little bit more. So Andrew is saying last time that we talked about how money picks up. What's the term used for that we were talking about? It starts with an I.
Interest.
Interest.
There it is. There it is. And we talked about these two different types of interest. One of them was real simple, and the other was what? Anybody remember?
Compound.
There it is. Who is brave enough to explain the difference between simple and compound interest? Mm,
It could be like the simple interest is it builds up like slowly, but they still give you the same amount. And then the one that builds up by itself is the not the simple interest, but the can you help me on that one? It's something
compound.
interest.
Compound.
Compound interest.
Yep. That's it. That's it. So let me fill in the gaps a little bit. Anybody remember the word principle and what that means? Anybody? All right, so principle is the amount that you put in. Oh, Mar, you got your hand up. Go for it. Go for it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry. I was gonna say what you just said, what the principle means.
Yeah. It's the amount that you put into the bucket, right? So let's say the bank says, all right, if you put in a principal amount with us, we will give you 5% on your money. What's that 5% called? It's called the I, that word that we used with the I blank. It's a two word,
Interest
the interest
Finance?
Rate.
rate.
Oh, okay.
interest rate. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. There we go. So you put in your principal amount. Let's say your principal was $1,000. All right. So you put in your principal of $1,000. The bank says we're going to give you a 5% interest rate. Okay. And if it's simple interest, you're going to get 5% of that $1,000 every year. All right. 5% of $1,000 is $50. So at the end of the first year, what would your balance be, Nolan? If you need some help, let me know. Let me know.
I'm stuck.
All right. So you put in $1,000. That's the cake. Remember, we talked about it like a cake. You put in the cake part. That's that $1,000. And then the bank says we're going to give you a 5% interest rate. That's $50 of interest. That's the icing on the cake. So the 1,000 plus the 50, the cake plus the icing, what is your balance? The balance is that total amount. That's the amount that when you look on your phone and you look how much money is in the account, what you're looking at is what is the balance in my account? So you take your principal, the amount of money you put in, $1,000, plus the interest, that's that $50 that they gave you, and what is your balance?
1,050.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 1,050. All right. So at the end of the first year, you got your $1,050. That's the cake plus the icing. Now, next year they come back and they say, look, this is simple interest. Even though you have $1,050 in there, we're still only gonna give you 5% of $1,000. Yes, we know that you have more than $1,000, but because this is simple interest, we're only going to give you 5% of your principal, the amount you first put in. So if this is your principal, but this is your balance, they're like, we don't care about this number. We're only going to give you 5% of your principal, and that's $50. So even if you had $1 million balance in there, but you started with $1,000, that's all they're going to give you interest on is the $1,000. So it's $50 every year, every year, every year. Simple interest. With compound interest, they're paying you off of the balance. So if you started with $1,000, but now it's grown to, let's say, 1 million, they're going to give you interest off of the million. Do you see what I'm saying? You see the difference there?
Yes.
5% of 1 million is a lot more than 5% of 1,000. So your money stacks up bigger and faster. Make sense?
Yes.
That's the difference between simple interest and compound interest. With simple interest, you're only getting interest off of the principal amount, the very first amount you started with. With compound interest, you're getting interest off of the balance. So every time it grows, that's more. Okay, that's the difference. Remember, Albert Einstein called compound interest the eighth wonder of the world because of how quickly it can add up and multiply and multiply. All right. And so what we did is we went and looked at some interest rates that different banks are paying. Anybody remember some of those interest rates? Well, when we went and looked at those interest rates from different banks, we said, okay, well, if we put our money in Bank of America, how much interest would they pay us?
0.01.
Right. It was not a lot. And then we went and looked at Chase Bank. Same thing. It was not a lot. So the lesson that we learned was banks are not going to pay you a lot of money to keep your money in the bank. They're not going to give you a lot of interest. So if you're looking to grow your money, a bank is not the place to do it. So if a bank is not the place to grow your money, why do we have banks in the first place? What's the point of having a bank? Anybody want to take that one?
For them to like cheat on you or something like that.
Well, no, the question that I'm asking is why is it still good to have a bank account even though that's not the place to grow our money?
It's to store your money for the future.
Yeah, that's one reason. Savings, to have some money for future you, right? Future Andrew is going to want something from the mall or something like that, right? So let's keep that money in a savings account. Somebody give me another reason why it's a good idea to still have a bank account.
So you can keep your money safe.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Mari?
Maybe like easy access to like your funds and like saving from like check cashing fees.
Exactly. Exactly. So think about this. Do you want to carry around a bunch of coins and a bunch of dollars in your pocket? Or is it easier to carry around a debit card and swipe the debit card? All right.
A
Now,
debit card.
yeah, some people do like to carry the cash, though. Not a problem. But a bank is an easy place to store your money so that you can just go swipe your card and have it taken out of your account. All right. A bank is good for that. A bank is good for keeping your savings, not the money that you want to grow, but the money that you want to sit and be ready for you in the future, right? As grown-ups have to make sure that they have some emergency money, because what happens if one of their kids gets sick, or what happens if they have to get a new tire on the car? They want to have some money in the bank to be able to go do that or take care of those emergencies. Right? So that's the purpose of a bank, is to park your money. Y'all know, like how a car be parked on the street. That car is just waiting for you to come back outside and hop in it, right? You're going to use that car pretty soon. In the next couple hours or whatever the case, I'm going to come back out and I'm going to hop in the car. It's parked. A bank is a place for you to park money that you're going to use pretty soon. Whether it's, you know, in a couple months, next year, that kind of thing. All right. Or even next week. Yes, sir, Andrew.
I wanted to say, have you heard of GS Partners or something like that? It's
I have not.
maybe search it up, but my mom was just doing that. She's making money build by itself by just putting it in there and leaving it. But,
Okay. Okay. You see how you said the leaving it part? When you're talking about making money grow, you need to be able to leave the money there. So this is not savings for, oh, I'm going to use this money next week. This is not, you know, oh, I want to get rich real fast, so I'm going to leave it there for a year and then I'm going to come back to it in a year and I'll be rich. It don't work like that. Let me ask you a question. How long did it take you to grow to how tall you are right now?
My whole life.
a long time.
It took you some years, right? When we're talking about growing money, we have to be able to give the money time. It takes time to grow. Okay. So money that you're going to use pretty soon. Oh, my birthday's coming up. I want to save this money so I can go to the mall with it. That's not money that you want to invest. When we talk about growing money, we're talking about investing. So GS Partners, like your mom, that's money that she's trying to grow. So you said she has to leave it. In other words, she has to give it time. She can't use that money tomorrow. Otherwise, it's not going to grow. So when you think about your money and your money plan, you want to have the money that you're going to use pretty soon. That's money that goes into a bank. But money that you want to grow, that's money that you need to be able to leave alone for some time. Okay. That's money that you got to say, all right, I am not going to touch that money for some years. I'm just going to forget about it. I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to let it do its thing and it's going to grow. And when I check on it, it'll be taller. Like, man, you grew. You know what I mean? You know, when you see people that you ain't seen in a long time, they be like, boy, you're getting big. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. That's how you want to do that money. Everybody understand that?
Yes.
Yes.
It can be tough because a lot of people will say, well, I don't have money to, who has money to like not spend? Who has money to just forget about, right? This is why we have to start talking about these things at you guys' age, because there are a lot of grownups that think like that. Like, I don't have money to just forget about. I gotta take care of stuff now. So it is a mindset that you have to have. There's a certain amount of patience that you have to have when it comes to growing your money. And if you are the kind of person who is like, I got to do it now. I got to spend it now. I got to spend it now. Ooh, I got this money in my pocket. I'm ready to spend it. What we doing? We going to the mall? What we doing? You know what I mean? If it's now, you are not going to be able to have the patience to grow your money and become wealthy. Everybody that I know that is wealthy, it took them time to build that wealth. It took them patience to build that wealth. So if you don't start to think and find patience with money, it's going to be tough for you to become wealthy, because wealth does not happen overnight. So that's why we're talking about it now, because it's easier for you to start thinking that way now than when you're 30 years old and you have bills. Okay, so that's why we're having this conversation.